What's the difference between, for those who don't know, what's the difference between Greco and regular wrestling?
Greco is all upper body. We don't grab legs or below the waist. And we have some specific techniques, like the suples technique. It comes from Greco. It's all upper body. I mean, it can be used in freestyle too, but we also have another suples. We call it back suples. When you lift your partner, just like you're sitting on this dummy, just flip it this way. You lift it, and that person wants to move and save his life because he's going to get launched, and you never know how he's going to land. You have to throw him over your chest. That's very specific. Where freestyle, it's possible to do, but they can grab your leg and you can't perform that lift. So mostly it's the difference between grabbing the legs and not be able to grab for Greco, but also American collegiate style have one specific position where you have to, they call it riding on top. So you have to keep your partner, your opponent down, because if the partner or his opponent escapes, you lose 1 point as a top wrestler. And it's a mandatory position that we don't have this at the Olympic style Greco-Roman wrestling. So that's the big difference. The time frame of the matches, not much different, but also for collegiate style, those who are wrestling in university are 3 periods by 3 minutes. It takes a lot of endurance, and Greco changes the rules. International Wrestling Federation changes the rules all the time, but now they're 2 periods of 3 minutes.
Okay. So sorry, going back to your story then.
Yes. So we're talking about the journey, or well,
yeah. Sorry, I thought I'd clarify the difference, but yeah,
yes.
you were really explaining about the recipe or the
recipe, exactly. I mean, what I could say my success mostly came from being able to structure a program that keeps my athletes on the task, no matter what. And I'm so confident to say that what I created, it works, and I will not have maybe results. I always will perform. Now, I don't say I can make everybody a world champion or national champion, but I'm going to make a huge progress that they will not deny that. And that's because of my structure, and that's how Suples was born. I didn't come here in the United States to start thinking to sell dummies and Bulgarian bags and some other equipment that I make now. I came here first, how can I perform better as a coach? And what style of coaching am I going to coach my athletes? So for example, maybe those who don't understand wrestling, they might not understand what I'm saying, but for example, I identify myself as a throwing guy. I throw body locks, we call it back arch throws, back steps. I'm a thrower, okay? So for this, okay, how do you practice throwing? Well, first you have to have partners. You have to have a good drills when they partner, but you also have to have supportive equipment that is safe, because they have to go through a volume of throws. Well, dummy is not enough. You have to throw a live partner. Dummy is good for a certain time, but then you have to have a crash pad, right? Because these mats are actually harder than this turf, you know? So I had to create these training tools, like starting with the dummy, for example, because that's the first product I had in Suples. Then the Bulgarian bag, because I realized that strength conditioning part, I could not give it to another strength coach. Sorry, they can be watching me, but they don't understand this process. I'm very confident, especially with Greco-Roman wrestling. I train very sport-specific methods of building strength. And I'll tell you why. They don't know my style. I know my style. I'm a thrower. I have to create exercise for throwing to build explosive power for that particular throw or that particular lift. Greco-Roman wrestling is like, imagine weightlifting, Olympic weightlifting sport, but for alive people. Do you understand? Do you think Olympic champion or world champion in weightlifting will lift me? Even they lift 3 times bigger than me. No chance. I will move, I'll push his log, and he will be down. I don't care how strong that person is. See how confident I am? For this, we lift, we do some heavy lifting with barbells and some other tools, but we also lift very specific program you have to have, and you have to have some products that can help you to build that specific, to be in that position so it balance well. And see, you're gonna make me get up here and start doing some throws. But so for that reason, my structure, I had to handle it. I closed the circuit. The string coach can work, but I write the plan. He works with me. I don't push him away, don't understand me wrong. But he works under my plan, because at the end of the day, if we fail, it's Ivan's fault, not the string coach that didn't know nothing about wrestling. Do you understand? So that was the difference, and that's what made me successful. Other coaches in college said, this is not my job, this is string coach job. I say, no, this is my job. I don't care. I don't care getting up early in the morning and run my strength conditioning session, because I want to be totally in charge with my program. If I'm responsible, I must be here. So that's kind of briefly the difference, what I was doing compared to, if you go to some other programs right now, you'll see, oh, they have a strength conditioning. And wrestling coach even don't go and look at what they're doing. I don't do this. Sorry, for me, this doesn't work.
You and I have had a number of conversations because you've supported us by training fitness instructors around the world, personal trainers. And I was curious from your perspective as to what does it mean to be a coach, whether you're a coach training people to win an Olympic medal, or a coach to get people fit and healthy. How would you describe, based on your experience of being a coach for many, many years, what that is for you?
For me, if I have to go step by step, I have to go this way. Number one, you must help people. That's it, first thing. If you don't like helping people, I just don't know how you can get better. You must love to help people, care, because they feel it. Now, if you know how to do this, you also have to understand, you have to have a plan. You can't just go and, today we're going to do a little bit of whatever, wrestling, or even in fitness, to make the practice like 5 minutes before. You have to have a plan for this. You have to understand, I mean, it depends what level of coaching, but you have to understand, I'm talking a little bit more performance, right? Like planning, because you have to follow periodization, where to pick your athletes, for example. And you have to know yourself, where you're good at teaching. And this is how I did it. I told you, I'm a throwing guy, and I'm lifter down. I train this, and I do gut wrenches, techniques that you probably don't know, and I'm pummeling, I'm intensive. I train aggressive style. I don't like counter style, but I do have a plan and a system. Without those things in place, very, very difficult to move forward. I'll give you an example. If you think coaches only there's a coaches who show moves and, oh, wow, this is awesome, this is great. But there's also coaches like me to watch and say, well, this will work, or this is not my style. You understand? So coaches who show moves, but they cannot crank the kids. Crank. Do you understand crank?
Can't explain it.
When you put the fork on them, when you train them 9 workouts per week, and they kind of hate you someday, but they never leave you. Why? Because they know you care, and they know why they're doing this. They understand that you have a plan, and they understand that they're making a huge progress with them. So if the coach doesn't have this I think will be very, very, very difficult to move forward. And there's many ways how you can be effective coach. I can talk only about the Suples way that I created, you know, but I bet you there's a lot of similar things between all of us who had success in coaching. We had a plan and we knew how to teach our plan to others and how to convince these athletes to believe us. Again, shower or coach who knows how to train and run the whole process, to develop a technician, not just to show one move, but how do you develop this move to master it so you can hit it anytime. Even if everybody knows this move that you're doing it, you still do your move. That's the tricky part of the coaching. And talking in wrestling, you know.